why do you trust that China has all their gold and even more, but you don't trust the United States? Why do you trust China's numbers, but don't trust the United States numbers? Now, if you want to tell me that you don't trust any government numbers, I'll give you a high five and completely agree with you. But the other thing I would say is if you think that the United States is accurately reporting all the gold that they have ever picked up in the world, I will argue with you till till the sun never comes up again. I think the U.S. has a lot more gold than they say they have. Can I prove it? No, I can't prove it. But for as long as history has existed, countries have gone to war over resources and treasure. And the United States has been at war for 100 years. And if you think that they go into these other countries and come back empty-handed, you're welcome to that belief. So anyway, the point is as gold gets remonetized, or if it becomes more of a global store of store of value, the United States is not exactly in a bad place on that. Now, some people will say, yeah, but they have the global reserve currency, so on an absolute basis, it will hurt them more. Sure. If this whole system comes down, which is what the whole milkshake is about, that's going to hurt the United States. It absolutely is. But there will be a progression, and the United States is not going to fail first. And in fact, I believe they're going to fail last. And if you want to believe otherwise, that's fine. If you're going to take on the global hegemon, and you're going to storm the castle, at least have a proper idea of how high the walls are and how thick they are. Don't go take them on if you don't fully understand what they're capable of. That's the point of all of this. So it's not that the United States will remain the global hegemon forever. Of course they won't. It's not that the United States dollar will remain the global reserve currency forever. Of course it won't. That's what this entire thesis is about how that process of them losing it. But that doesn't mean they're going to lose it tomorrow. And it doesn't mean that just because gold is going up, that the United States automatically loses. So when you see these charts going around, it's not that they're not important. They're very important. But don't just take the minute everybody says something about this means that the United States is done for and China's going to win, or whatever new theory they came up with of why that will be the case. Actually stop and think about it. Think about it on a relative basis. What does the United States have? What do the other countries have? What problems do the United States have? What problems do the rest of the world have? What assets do the United States has? What assets do the rest of the world have? When you start analyzing each company equally, rather than just focusing on the sins of the United States, you start to realize that in a relative game, it's not quite as cut and clear as many like to make it out to be. Okay. That's it for this week. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I know what I was. Hold on. One thing. I didn't want you to think that I'd forgotten about this. Hold on. You guys know I have been calling for a correction in the markets, and so far it has not happened. But hold on. Where is this at? For the first time in a long time, equities didn't go up for the week. They actually kind of, the Dow actually went up just slightly. The S&P was down a little bit. The NASDAQ was down a little bit. The semiconductors were down or kind of flat. But the point is that, we're getting very close to where I'm either going to have to raise my hand and say, I just got it wrong. As of right now, I'm wrong. We have not had the correction. I thought we'd have it by the end of the quarter. There's a couple days left. Maybe we'll trade off here over the next couple of days. But I still think it's possible because, everything is just so stretched. But I didn't want you to think I was overlooking this. So far, the market has remained incredibly strong. We've got the government potentially shutting down on Tuesday. That could cause some issues. If the government shuts down, then we won't have non-farm payroll release. We may not have the CPI release. So you get into all kinds of new issues of if the Fed is data dependent and data is not coming out, is that bullish or bearish? It's hard to say. We've had the U.S., you guys know I live in Puerto Rico. The U.S. military has been building up in Puerto Rico. They've been, so far, they've been taking out, alleged drug boats from Venezuela. Now there's reports that the United States is going to actually go into Venezuela. My guess is that they'll go into other places as well. So there's still a lot of things and things are ratcheting up with Russia. So there's a lot of things that can still happen. I think markets are definitely overdue for a correction. So we'll see whether we get it, but so far it hasn't happened. Anyway, we'll be back next week and we'll talk about it more then. All right, guys. Bye. We have a couple different ways that you can subscribe to our research. If you go to research.santiagocapital.com, there's a couple different levels. There's our main level, which gives you access to a number of different reports. And then there's the premium version, which gives you access to even more reports, more in-depth reports,
a couple times a month, we do a live Q&A, and you get access to basically everything we do.